the time Warden mystery box. I want to know what's the chances, how many will be dropping in the future because the price is so high right now. If I have to buy three of them right now at this price point, and then I find out later that it's gonna be a whole bunch that drop, then I just be losing a lot of money. Can you touch on that at all?
I want to talk a little bit about the gameplay and the lore.
So just broadly speaking, it's set in the future at the end of the universe where time is collapsing and everybody's kind of been pushed to this one world called Time's End. And that's the level people are playing at right now. But there's this evil corporation out there, Paradox Corporation, whose slang name is Big Time, has this ability to send people back and forth in time, essentially on vacation. The users kind of come in to prevent that nefarious activity from Paradox Corp and battle enemies across multiple time periods. So that's the background. There's a lot more kind of fleshed out in there. But from a game perspective, one of the cool things that allows for is we can set the game in the future or go to the past. We can set it kind of in any world that we want to, and it really varies the gameplay significantly. I think we're going to release more on the lore prior to global launch because it'll kind of put some of the worlds in perspective. But definitely more to follow on that.
Awesome. And when do you guys plan to globally launch?
I think somewhere in the third quarter. I can tell you that we initially said it was going to be, I think, at the end of this month or early July. I think it's probably going to be like a month delay at least. Not for any particularly bad reason, just normal kind of game development stuff. Because the rest of it is proceeding pretty nicely. But I think sometime in third quarter is the mark we have on the calendar right now.
When the global launch happens, will each player be required to own like a pass?
No, all the NFTs, but by the time global launch happens, are only cosmetic. They don't affect your stats at all, and that's because we saw the kind of microtransaction way of proceeding games is pretty offsetting to users. You were right. Right now, that all you need to get into the game is either a gold, silver, or jade pass. But within a few weeks, you're gonna just need a ruby pass, and that will get you into the game for free and trying out the game well before global launch.
And the closest thing that I can attest to, maybe you guys have heard this a lot, it reminds me of kind of like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is supposed to look like World of Warcraft. I think if you're in the MMO space and you don't model something off of World of Warcraft in some way, I think you're barking up the wrong tree. Like World of Warcraft in its heyday was, I don't know, like 100 million monthly active users. That's insanity. They were clearly doing something right, and I think that's about 5 times higher than the next largest game right now. But we've obviously taken our own spin on it.
How do people trade these cosmetic NFTs? Is it via OpenSea or do you have your own marketplace?
So right now we just have our own marketplace, but it's pretty slick, and we see a lot of transactions happening on there. Even throughout the bear, it's continued to grow every day, even though there's really not that many people playing, which has been pretty exciting to watch. Like the economy is relatively simple right now, but there's been a lot of activity. By the time we get global launch, we have this technology called the Vault, where you're gonna be able to move things from the marketplace inside the game to a variety of different types of chains. So if you're like, hey, I really want to take this and move it to OpenSea, you're gonna be able to do that.
Says I own a pretty good amount of land and the time Warden mystery box. I want to know what's the chances, how many will be dropping in the future because the price is so high right now. If I have to buy three of them right now at this price point, and then I find out later that it's gonna be a whole bunch that drop, then I just be losing a lot of money. I just would like to know if it's, can you touch on that at all?
I can
So
touch on
that
it a little bit. I just want to clarify for the audience. The time wardens that he is referring to are a NFT that users can put inside of their space. Their space is our land token, and aesthetically, it looks like a house or a castle. When you enable that time warden, a user can start collecting the in-game token as they play the game. So unless you have the time warden and you play the game, you can't get the token. You got to have the time warden. So we did drop them during the gold pass period, and some people have correspondingly put them onto the marketplace. There will be time wardens, forges, and armories that drop during the global launch period. However, they will be at a relatively low rate. We haven't released any more issues or information on whether or not there's going to be a future sale on time wardens, forges, and armories. But right now, The only way you can get a Time Warden is if somebody found it during Gold Pass period and resell it. But in theory, it is possible for you to find it during the global launch play.
Let's say if I got 8 different spaces, am I able to have more than one time warning with all 8 of my spaces? And then the second part of that question is, when players come to get their hourglass refilled, are the people that just own land and guilds that just own land just refilling it for free, or do they have to give us something to refill it, or do they just come to us and just refill it?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yes. So you will be able to enable multiple Time Wardens inside of your space. And there is essentially a mixture of ingredients that go into refilling your hourglasses. So that hourglass, again, for the audience, is essentially a time limit. So when your Time Warden enables a player to collect that in-game token, it allows a player to collect that token for a set amount of time. That's dictated by the hourglass. Think of it like, hey, once the hourglass is empty, you can no longer collect the in-game token as you play the game. You can still play, you just won't get the token. So you're going to be able to enable multiple Time Wardens inside of your space if you have enough room. Now, refilling the hourglass involves a couple things. One of them is this item called sand, which is going to be something you can collect inside the game. There's also a mixture of other things. I believe the token is one part of it. So you have to find a certain number of tokens to reload that hourglass. And that's similar to the upgrade process for other NFTs. So, for example, if you want to upgrade a cosmetic skin, you might need a little bit of the token, a little bit of the ore, a little bit of the gold. There's essentially a variety of things that your players can go out there and find and bring back to the space and cooperatively kind of work together to upgrade those NFTs that you find.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, Loaded. It seems like you're well experienced and been a part of Big Time for some time. Give us your rating. What's your feedback so far on Big Time?
Like, all honesty, I really just came in as an investment, like just to try to make money off of it. Bought a lot of land. I never been into playing games, and since I've been playing, I love it. To be honest with you, I never played nothing like it. I didn't since it's a blockchain game. I didn't even expect for it to even play. To be honest with you, I thought it was gonna have a ton of bugs, and I'm able to play, go in and out of dungeons. I was really shocked with how well it played. Like, wow, I could go in and out of dungeons. I'm actually able to play the game. It's not a ton of crashes. To be able to play this game without a ton of bugs and being able to just collect my NFT and just do these things that I'm supposed to be able to do in the game, but I'm just suspecting I won't be able to. It was really really surprising. I was really happy with it. I give it a 10 out of 10. What's the difference from the Armory and the Forge and the mystery box?
The armories and forges basically dictate whether or not you can upgrade the weapons or the armor and skins. I think it's like if you want to upgrade the armor or the skins that you wear, you put it into a forge. If you want to upgrade the weapon, then you put it into an armory. The reason that they are mystery boxes is because the level of those respective NFTs is what is up for mystery. There are different tiers of armories and forges. The higher tier it is, the higher you can upgrade something. So not all forges and armories are essentially created equal.
I just had a quick question about how the merging spaces work because I have a couple of spaces. I was wondering how the mechanics of all that went. I don't have a pass yet, but I'm definitely kind of itching for it. So yeah.
I so wish I could share this with you on exactly how they are going to work together. They are modular. They are going to essentially bolt together, and the way that they are going to look is something like a Sims house, where it's like the more space that you have, it's like adding more rooms onto your house in Sims, and you can do a lot to customize what the inside of it looks like, the furniture, the stuff that's on the walls, the layout. You have a lot of flexibility there. And I may or may not have been looking at the artist depictions of how space is going to look like today, and it is super cool. We just haven't released that officially yet, but aesthetically speaking, yes, you are going to be able to add it together and like very much like customize that area yet. I think we have some artistic renditions of space on our Instagram. I think that's still our best kind of like conceptualization of what it will look like. So I encourage you to check it out there.
What is the difference between like say a combined like two small mythic spaces versus like a medium space? What's the difference between those two?
So the overall rarity of space is essentially like a pyramid. So there's 600,000 space. That's not going to change. There is a fixed quantity. And of that, 40% of it is rare, 30% of it is epic, 20% is legendary, 8% is mythic, and 2% is exalted. So the rarer the space is, the corresponding lower the quantities are that will ever be available inside of Big Time. The rarity of the space essentially is a factor in how rare the NFT is that you can upgrade inside of it. So if you have more rare space, you can upgrade rare NFTs. Those rare NFTs have a much lower quantity inside the game. So that's kind of the overall premise of why people would have rarer space as opposed to more common space.
And with regard to like combining them, is it like two small spaces to one medium space or a large space, or is it just kind of, how does that work?
No, I mean, it doesn't matter what size or rarity of the spaces, that's all going to be able to eventually connect together.
So excuse me if you hear me tapping. I'm actually playing in the background. But I just wanted to come up and clarify. Did you say that Jade passes were going to have more than the 2 weeks?
Yeah, highly likely. Ruby pass period I think was supposed to start June 21st. Highly likely that's going to be delayed. So that essentially expands the Jade pass period. But I kind of figured some early access pass holders would like that. So
Yeah, I've been running nonstop trying to get some NFTs, but just like the last guy said, I was kind of blown away coming from playing World of Warcraft and stuff back in the day. How polished and fun the combat mechanics are. I play a quantum fixer, and so like with my gears, I've been able to like get him to be like a criticalist, and so I'm doing crowd control, and I still do damage too as a healer. So that's cool as hell. So I haven't had a chance to join a guild or actually play with the spaces yet. Is the Forge available? Like, is upgrading available?
no, you can't. You can't upgrade any of those NFTs you found yet. What we have done is inside of Big Time right now, you can find all of the stuff that once global launch happens, you can immediately start upgrading those NFTs. So
Oh,
like,
so that's probably what the ore is for that's been around everywhere.
don't tell the people that. No, I'm just joking. Um, yes, the ore and the gold and all of that stuff are some of those ingredients that go into upgrading NFTs.